Okay, here's what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna get some clarity on a question or a topic or an issue. It can be anything. You know, you can decide which pile will be for which issue that you want an answer on or some clarity on in your life. Remember, it is just information to reflect on, and it is a general reading. So, if you don't get crystal clear, there may be more that you need to look at on the issue. So this reading aims to help you gain clarity. Okay, there's no guarantee here, but what I will offer for this reading, if you don't get clarity on one of these issues, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks for this reading. If you do not get clarity on your situation through one of these picks, you can mention this reading before the end of the year for a half price session. Okay, I was going to make it a half price hour long session, but what the heck. Let's make it a half price however long session. You can see on my website the session lengths that I offer. I offer readings, and then I offer spiritual conversation. And I will do that, one of those sessions for you at half price before the end of 2022 if you mention this reading, looking for clarity on the topic. Okay? And you don't have to have the session on that issue if you don't want to. It's just an offer. I don't know, I was just drawn to doing it. So if you're interested in having a half price session with me before the end of the year, it doesn't mean that the session will actually have to take place before the end of the year, but you'll at least have to contact me to book the session. So if my calendar's full and you have to schedule into January, it's okay as long as you've messaged me, contact me before December 31st of 2022. Then this offer will apply to you. Okay? So thank you for your interest in that, and let's take a look. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're looking for some clarity, and I'm just going to start, and we'll pull some more cards if needed, because I've dealt out a few cards on each of these, and we'll just see if we need any more cards. And I think I'm going to use my astrology bucket. So, all right. Let me just close my curtain. Let's start with pick number 1, looking for some clarity on a situation. Now there is an answer card here. That means you will be able to get the answer to your question when we flip that over. So if you need time to think of a question, you can pause, or you can be thinking of it, or you don't have to keep it in mind continuously. Just know whatever question it is, and we'll get to that answer in a moment. Okay? So what clarity can we offer for the end of a cycle? You're at the end of a cycle. This is from my Hermes deck. So formula. There's some sort of strategy that's been used, and check your boundaries. What I feel like I want to say about this is you've ended a cycle, and by doing so, maybe you've had to part ways with somebody in particular, or a job, or a circumstance, person, place, or thing, something like that, where you decided that does not fit into whatever going forward, right? I'm going to use this scenario as if it's a person. So you ended a relationship with a person, and this person keeps trying to suck you back in, has succubus energy almost, right? Like there is a method to the madness being used. If you were to look up textbook behaviors for narcissists hoovering up their prey, which, by the way, when I say that, I'm giggling because I don't use any of that terminology lightly, and I don't really like using it, in fact, because we're just human beings. But like when I say those terms, it's an easy way for me to portray the dynamics that could have been playing out in a relationship that is now ended, right? So it doesn't have to be that serious, right? It doesn't have to be someone who's a narcissist. But the fact that somebody would be trying to coerce or use a certain strategy to try to regain entry into your walls, maybe that you had to put up in order to complete this cycle and actually put it to rest. So it's saying check your boundaries. So as they so one of the things that happens in these kind of situations is like the person who wants back in is smooth, right? They're not just like coming in, knocking on the door and like traipsing in with their muddy feet. No. Maybe they'll catch you on a need that you have, and then suddenly they can fulfill the need. Or they know an insecurity you have, so you'll, just when it's been poked in you, maybe they'll be the one to poke it in you, and then they'll be the one to help you through it. Or maybe that they go behind your back and they start talking bad about your name so that you are in an insecure position and you need them again. You know, whatever it may be, they're going to try to be very suave and strategic about implementing themselves back into the equation of this thing that you are ready to move on from. So when it says check your boundaries, it's saying like you've made a decision. So if you know why, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and you know what's important to you. You know why you've made the decision. Okay? Really going inward and looking at yourself is kind of make it so that you're not looking outside of yourself for anything that they could possibly provide, right? That's one. And as far as like getting into any power struggle relating dynamics, I'm just gonna mention I don't like sounding like a commercial, but this reading already did sound like a commercial with my offer for a half-price session. If you missed the intro, you might want to take a listen, but this is my Fair Relating Reflection deck, which is offered for sale on my website. It's $33 and plus shipping. And this deck helps to navigate relationship with anybody in a fair, balanced way. Meaning there's no power struggles in the relationship. If you use this deck, you can help yourself navigate in a way that you won't engage in a power struggle. And power struggle is really the only way you could get pulled back in. If you're lacking something within yourself and somebody else knows it, then that's like somewhere where they can breach the wall, so to speak. I'm going to dig into the oracle now and see, is there anything else? Let's answer the question right now, okay? Surrender. So say like they started to breach your walls, and there was part of you that was just like, oh, I'll teach them, I'm gonna like undermine them, and I'm gonna like kick the foundation out from under them, or make it harder for them, or retaliate against them, or whatever. This is kind of saying like, don't worry about any of that. You know, don't step down to that level of unfair relating and power struggle. Surrender. It's like whatever you were trying to control about the situation, whatever you hoped would it become, it's not in your control. You must surrender. Surrender is the answer to your question, whatever your question was. Anything that is important for this pick to consider? Earth. This is part of the experiences that you wanted to have while you're on Earth. So you've learned something valuable in learning this. You've got, as you integrate the pain of the situation, you have wisdom that you've gained from it. We've got fate. So you need to know that this is the fated time for it to end. It's meant to end. This is a cycle that's over. And that if you don't keep your boundary, it won't end. Like, it is up to you to do what you gotta do, right? Put these here and to get a couple more. So if your question was about breaking up and making up, you know, this is suggesting break up good, make up not so much, because it's the end of a cycle. If the question was, I want to get back together with somebody whose boundaries are high, what's the formula to make this kind of begin again, a new beginning? It's like surrender, because you can't control the other person. Let kind of the universe sort some things out right now. That you know the truth. You know the truth. If you were wondering, if you like had some doubts, like, is this true? Is what I'm feeling true? Yeah, it's true. And you have a higher calling. There's a bigger awareness that is ready to be housed within you. And ending that cycle allows it to have the room. This higher version of you doesn't tolerate those things any longer. You've learned everything that you needed to learn from that fate loop. And now you can take the wisdom forward toward your destiny. Okay? So to be clear, walk-in means that a higher version of your soul is being embodied at this time. And it means that there's something that version of your soul wants to accomplish here on Earth. And it means that the version of you that was running the show is being put to rest, meaning is stepping back so that this more aware version of you can be, you know, coming to Earth and like operating under the truths it knows from many other lifetimes you've lived or it's lived. And especially during this kind of time of transition, it's important to keep boundaries up. So it's like, you want to do this transformation in a safe space for you. So maybe some time in the forest with the autumn leaves. Maybe some time in a quiet place. Someplace where you feel safe. Someplace where you're utilizing your own energy and not like that of others. And that's part of what's needed in order to complete this transition. Everything that you've been through was lending towards this for you. Okay? Okay. Okay, pick one. That is going to be the amount of clarity that we have to offer for this. So, remember, it's just information to reflect on. It's meant to be helpful, so just take what's helpful to you. And you might want to consider a personal reading if you need further clarity. You can even do your own reading within yourself. There's even online free readings generators that I've seen if you need something more immediate. Okay. So just take what's helpful to you, leave the rest. Thank you for being here, and perhaps I'll see you in a future reading or for a half-price session. Let me know. All right. I just heard a voice that said, "Why are you doing half price?" I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'm going to get too many people booking from this reading. You know, if I end up doing like 2 to 4, it's reasonable. I can handle it. It's so funny. I wonder if that was my guide. Well, I can tell you this. It's not because I don't know that what I have to offer is worth it. It's just that there may be some people holding back because of financial restraint around the holiday time. And, you know, there was a time in my life where I would have just been so thankful for an opportunity to have something at half price. And I have taken advantage of deals like that for myself. So I guess I just wanted to pay it forward that way. All right, pick 2. Let's look for some clarity in your situation. I'm going to put this answer card over here. So if you have a question, you can think of it, and we'll get to that answer later. Let's see if we can get some clarity. Sexuality, primal release. This is the Hermes deck, hidden benefit. And the completion of a cycle. Very interesting, since we had completion of a cycle in the first pick as well. All right. In this case, I think I'm going to... Your sexual energy could be tied up or keeping you in a coping mechanism or a pattern that is ready to end. But you haven't ended the pattern. You haven't ended the cycle because there's a hidden benefit to you having it or doing it. So it's like, what could it be? I mean, sexual energy doesn't have to just be sex. It can be. And maybe I'm not supposed to use that word on here. I don't know. But it's also the energy that we use to create. So craft energy, right? Like, so there's something here where you got to be done with something, but there's some sort of hidden benefit to doing so. I'm just consulting my oracle for more information. 7 to 8 months. Jupiter, so you feel very powerful. It feels very beneficial. It's an experience that you were meant to have, so it feels right, you know. Maybe it's like you don't know. Oh, I know what this is. I had a vision of it, and then I didn't say it, and now I'm just like, okay. Now I think I might need to say it. All right. So I don't know if you've ever come across the manifestation technique of using orgasm as a way to manifest. And so basically in the moment of orgasm, there's no resistance. So if you use visualization at the moment of orgasm, you can give a direct message to the universe on what you'd like to manifest and receive. Now, I, unfortunately, have taught this method of manifestation to an ex of mine. And sometimes, if he were to come into my awareness in the energy body, I have thought, damn, I really shouldn't have taught him that. All right, so what could be the hidden benefit of utilizing something like that? It's like you feel like you have control where you don't. You get to hold on to the potential. It's an experiment. I feel like I'm really grasping. Change the story is the answer to your question. Change the story. So whatever you've been telling yourself about this situation is not beneficial entirely, because first of all, it seems like there's maybe more than one person involved. Maybe someone you have a crush on, maybe someone you're trying to manifest into your life. I mean, have you considered what they want? Like, that's what I get from Be Curious. Have you considered how it is affecting them? What is happening, and like what would happen if you stopped doing it. Because not that method, but there was another manifestation method that I used in the past, I experimented with. And it was that I changed my beliefs to believe that a certain relationship I was in would break up, would last, would not break up. The relationship would last, and I put that in my belief system, but by repetition, because that's one of the ways you can program yourselves, through repetition. And in doing so, what I realize now that I have a bigger awareness and I know more about how energy works, is that because that person had a free will, that when my energy said, we're going to work out, that might have felt like a dog collar on him. You know? Like, to him, his energy might have been like, yikes, like, this feels like I'm tied down by this, because this has to work out. So my energy said, right? So that, I believe, caused this person to run away harder, more. Which, in the end, is great because, it's like a breakup is a lot easier when you haven't really spent that much time together anyway. In theory. So anyways, what I'm saying is, like, it sort of backfired, right? Like it was an experiment. I tried it out. Like, change the story kind of says, like, well, what if I had changed that story to, like, if we're meant to be this or something better, Wouldn't that have made it a lot more free, and wouldn't we have gotten to the bottom of the things a lot faster if I had realized, like, the more we spent time together, the less compatible we were? But instead it was, like, more of, like, this cat and mouse chase game where it was like, when is this ever gonna, like, progress? So if I were to be curious instead of be knowing, like, something could have worked differently, at least at that time, and not necessarily overall in the biggest picture, but the way it unfolded. So is there some reason why you're doing it the way you're doing it? Like, for me, the hidden benefit of doing it that way was maybe, like, I didn't have to worry all the moments of the day that I was doing something wrong that was going to cause us to break up. Right? Because, like, I thought I had myself, like, a little safety net. You kind of have to apply this to your own situation. I hope that the examples that I'm giving and the stories that I'm sharing are significant to you in some way where you can apply the parallel to the situation that you find yourself in. But nowadays, I would never use masturbation as a way to manifest somebody. Like, using orgasm to manifest somebody into my life, I would never do that. I would consider that, like, sex magic, and I would say that would be black magic because the other person is not consenting. And so, from my experience, what I know about it, even though I was very innocently trying it out in the past, first of all, it didn't work very well, and I probably had to suffer consequences and karmic backlash because of it. So I'm all set with messing with anyone's free will, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing that. And plus, like, who really wants to be in a relationship with somebody you had to put a dog collar on? I mean, I know that could be your thing, but that's not balanced, fair relating. So the universe isn't going to support that at this time if both parties aren't consenting adults. So let's see. I don't know. I feel kind of like... Let me just ask, is there anything else we need to know about this? Unhappy family. Is it beneficial for you to have somebody in your life that your family doesn't like? Like you get to like keep them at bay or upset them in the process of, I don't, This reading's all over the place and I don't like it because I am not gaining clarity on this at all. I'm going to have to separate these things, okay? Tell me about the sexuality. Why is the sexuality here? What do we need to know about it? It's affecting your reputation. Anything else we need to know about the sexuality? It's kind of like that part of your life is over. See, completion of a cycle, and we got the sunset. You had a good run, is what I want to say. Okay, unhappy family. What is that? Why is that here? What do we need to know about unhappy family? Okay. Abusive patterns towards children. There has been like, maybe even like, if you were in a situation where there was cheating or something like that, children could have been at risk in the situation because of your behaviors. Maybe like if you upset a mom and then she like was a tyrant on the children and took it out on them because she was unhappy because she felt like she was losing you because you were sleeping with someone else, or you know, something like that. Or if you walked away, then any abuses that you were enduring would have gone to the children, or something like that. Okay. But it's also has to do with a story that you're telling about that. It's like, if this, just pretend this is the example, right? I don't know that this is the exact example you're living out, but we're going to stay with this story. If this woman, we'll call it a woman, and the man, you know, it's just a story, okay? If this woman started mistreating her children or the children because the man cheated on her, it doesn't make it that man's fault that the children were mistreated, right? So it's like, change the story. And Arachne is about, what story are you telling? So putting blame on yourself for the mistreatment of the family isn't beneficial, in fact, okay? And it isn't the reason that you're ending that cycle. Maybe it was the reason why you stayed in an unhealthy cycle, but like the hidden benefit was that, you know, they would be safer with you around or something like that. Very interesting. Okay, so $1 million idea. Why is that here? You do desire more, and in order to fulfill more, you need to redirect and reprioritize your resources. Like the lifestyle you've been living and the way you've been doing it, living large, probably like telling yourself certain stories and excuses for keeping up in certain ways. Burning the candle at both ends, I want to say. Because even if this wasn't sexual energy and didn't have anything to do with cheating, it could have been just vital life force. And you could have been feeding your life force to another person instead of putting it towards like this thing that you desire. And you could have also been telling yourself that you needed to do it that way because of the protection you needed to offer certain family members. Interesting. You could have had a lot of rage built up over this situation going on for so long, and so there may be a need to like dissipate some of that. You can also like redirect that anger towards some of your goals. Okay, no matter the thing though, this seems like it's a cycle that's ended, that it affected not only you but others, that, or maybe just in the way that you told the story to yourself, that you do have something else to do, and that maybe the only thing that's been keeping you from doing the other thing is that you've been telling yourself a story, and maybe even not realizing that there was a hidden benefit for you to stay in the old situation that you've outgrown. So find that hidden benefit to release it so that you can release yourself and move along without any guilt or fear or shame about doing so. Remember, it's just information to reflect on. So, it's meant to be helpful. Where the heck did I put those other cards? Only take it if it's helpful for you, and leave the rest. I don't know what I did with that other stack of cards, but okay. Guess I'll find it sometime. Now, let's burn a little Palo Santo. Pick 3. We're going to do the answer to a question. If you want to think of a question, we'll flip that in a few minutes. This Palo Santo is nice, isn't it? Okay. We've got property, grounded, real estate, prophecy, let it be written, let it be done, something something, the unborn son, Cupid, and karmic relationships. Interesting. Maybe you've been hit by Cupid's arrow. And it seems like, you know, it's a good match. You're meant to be. You feel drawn to this person. But maybe there's a lot of stuff in the way. And so you're having to face all of that as you proceed forward. Maybe it's hard to enter a new relationship when you have ties in real estate with another. Something is delayed. Delayed and sloth. Interesting. Okay. You're getting to look at something that you judge in yourself or others, but you're seeing it in someone else right now, okay? And the reason that you're seeing it, now maybe first of all you're seeing someone you like, and then as you get closer, you start to realize that you don't like some of these things, and like it's actually like a lot of things that poke you or rub you wrong or that you absolutely can't stand. And you're not realizing that this is so that you can like dissipate some of the judgments that you hold that are in your energy right now. Because those judgments that you're holding on to are actually holding up something that you want when it comes to property, being grounded in real estate. Like maybe even a purchase of a home or like building a foundation. Yeah, your foundation is rocky right now. And so this karmic relationship is coming to show you these things so that you can take care of them before you build. You don't want to build on a rocky foundation, do you? Like, you want something more solid and stable. So if you hadn't learned this lesson by now in life, this person agreed to come in to help you learn the lesson. That's what's happening here. So that's why it seems like you're meant to be with them. It seems like you have some unfinished business with them. It seems like they were, meant to be in your life. But in actuality, it was because you hadn't learned a certain something that your soul intended to learn. So they had to come in to help you see that. And how you're seeing it is they're kind of acting like your enemy. And everything that you wanted to achieve is now on the back burner and slowed down and not coming to you because you first have to learn this thing. So karmic relationships, once you learn it, they fall away, usually. So if you feel like you were hit by Cupid's arrow and now you don't understand why this relationship has turned sour, it's because that's what the relationship was for, to poke you in the places that you needed to be poked so that you would heal the things and the misunderstandings that you still have. Judgments perhaps that you're holding about other people. And there's a worksheet called the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. It's it's by Byron Katie. You can find, she has a YouTube channel and a website where you can get the worksheet for free. So you can actually do a worksheet on this person to help yourself understand and see things differently, okay? Here's the answer to your question. Father is supportive. So I betcha the things that you're uprooting from your shadow through, what you're seeing about yourself in this relationship is stuff that you learned from Father. How did Father tell you needed to operate in life? Or what did Father show you, or how did your Father treat people? And so one of these ways it's playing out for you. Maybe it's even like, is there a hidden part of you that expects to be victimized? Because if you're not taking control in a situation, then, someone's going to be. Like, is that playing out for you? And like, if that's the case, like, maybe it's a misunderstanding. Maybe Father didn't know, Maybe Father was misunderstanding and then he passed a misunderstanding on to you about the way things work. When I feel compelled to mention that, one of the things that we're doing in our evolution of humanity through our evolution of consciousness is coming into more balanced ways of relating. So in order to transition from the old way of relating, which is through power struggle in a lot of cases, to the new way, which is more balanced and neutral. And I've developed this deck called the Fair Relating Reflection deck, and it's offered on my website for sale for $33 plus shipping. And it might be something that would be helpful to you in learning and navigating a situation to find out, like, where are these hidden ways that there's imbalanced relating in what you're doing. Okay, so remember, this is just information to reflect on. It's meant to be helpful, so just take what is helpful to you. And you can get in touch if you would like to do a more personal reading for further clarity. Okay, I'm going to continue on with doing the Palo Santo in between each reading because that seems to be working well. Even though lots of these readings have been referencing relationship, I don't feel like it's the same energy for each one. So The other day I was just clearing with Violet Flame, and that felt really good. This is the Violet Flame sculpture that I have on my board. So you don't have to use Palo Santo to clear. I do like Palo Santo. It's sort of a tool of the ancients, you know. But I know I've used Palo Santo in many, many lifetimes, and I can actually elicit the essence of it without even having any. But I do still like it, and I get my supply from a sustainable source on Amazon, actually, even though I know there's a lot of controversy about the sustainability of Amazon, and I understand that too. Okay, there's going to be an answer to a question we can look at after. We got Everything Flows and Mars, Moon, and Cancer. And these are from the Hermes deck. Let's see. Unrequited love. Okay. This is a situation where some relationship in your life, and maybe it is just how you deal with people in general, but like it's mirroring some sort of break in the bond between mother and child. The relationship with mother was wounded. And maybe it's like you got shamed every time you asked for something. Maybe mother didn't have a lot to provide for you, and one of the kind of things that happened was like you either learn to go without and to not ask, because it would feel bad to ask for something of your mom when she knew she couldn't give it, and that would make her feel bad. So you just got used to not asking for what you want. Or in some cases, mom could have even abused you and like lashed out at you and like shamed you, actively tried to make you feel bad for asking for what you want. And so this could be playing out now in a situation where you're only attracted to or only attracting people who kind of treat you like that, like don't ask of me, or that you wouldn't ask of because they don't have anything to give. So you would let yourself be in imbalanced relationships where you're not getting your needs met. And even if you were in a relationship with someone who would help you meet your needs, you wouldn't have asked them, so they wouldn't know, right? So there's something here where there's some pressure on the situation where it's been the way it is for so long that the pendulum is about to swing in the other direction. So you're going to see the other side of things. So if you've been the one unrequiting love, if you've been the one not returning love, and maybe like mimicking what a mother might have done, which was withhold or make someone feel like you didn't have anything to give anyway, so don't ask. Like if you were the one unrequiting love, then perhaps somebody is going to unrequite love to you. And if you were the one not having love requited, perhaps somebody's going to start requiting love that you don't requite, right? like somebody's going to love you that you kind of feel like, nah. Something's going to let you see the other side of whatever this situation is. So I feel like you just kind of have to apply that how it, whatever is appropriate for you. It says surrender to win. It's an interesting card because win implies that there's a contest, or that you're in competition, which you're not. So I think it just means to come out in a place where nobody is actually like suffering anymore. So surrender this, which means like don't try to control the situation. Meaning let yourself have needs, let the other person have needs, let yourself have an aversion to someone if you have the aversion to someone. Let them have the aversion to you if they have the aversion to you, and just step back and let it kind of play out and see what it is. That's really what Mars, Moon, and Cancer energy does very naturally anyway. It's not a very assertive energy, but they're very, very devoted to their family members. So, dancing around that topic of talking about an example where mom might have not given you what you needed, might have been very uncomfortable for me to say and for you to hear. Maybe there was a part of you that even wanted to protect mom in that situation, or like stick up for her or whatever, Maybe you just witnessed mom not asking for what she needed. Maybe you're in a situation where you can now give to mom what you saw she never even asked for. Something like that. So there's an invitation to just realize this and create a change in the situation, to reprioritize your needs. And this is going to come through this realization where the tables are turned. Tables will turn. That's so weird because I put my foot on the bottom of the table and it started to turn. So that's funny. I love that. And that happens to me a lot, and I love it every time it happens, where, whatever I'm saying or thinking is the words I read or the thing that's happening right then. It's like I'm very present, and it's a beautiful way to navigate life, and I love it. So Uranus brings sudden and electrifying change, and also like insight and like epiphanies. So I feel like suddenly you're going to realize like what needs to happen here, and what is tied, and what is the reason why you've been not letting it happen. But it's also like a surrender that's solving this issue, right? Because it's flowing, it's going to swing. This pendulum is going to swing. So ask for what you want and get out of the way is kind of what I want to say. Prioritizing what you want is a perfectly natural, beautiful thing to do, and it may be just time to do it. And maybe what you realize is that you are in an unrequited love situation when you ask for what you want, and there isn't someone there who can give you that. Normally I would try to give myself what I want first, right? I always go to myself first, and only if I can't give myself what I want would I ask somebody else to help me give me what I want. So if what you're asking for outside of yourself cannot be given by whom you ask, that might be a difficult, thing to realize, but it's also an important thing to realize, because you're a person who would completely devote yourself to giving to somebody that you love and care about. It would be your priority. But if you come to realize that you've prioritized someone that doesn't need to be as high of a priority in your life, that you should actually prioritize yourself first, or maybe it's a prioritization where you just end up making yourself your go-to first. Instead of always going to the other person or someone else, you say, okay, well, what can I do to give myself what I want? So for some of you, it's just like start asking for what you want. And for others of you, it's like start giving yourself what you want. And for others of you, it's like when you ask for what you want, you'll realize where you stand. And then you can make the appropriate changes. And all of these involve some sort of change. And it could be, more than one of those situations for one given person. Okay? Okay, now you might even see this kind of energy playing out in more than one place in your life. You may have more than one relationship where it's kind of imbalanced, and you're about to see what the reality of it is. Okay? Like when the tables are turned, like when you are the person who is there for everybody, is going above and beyond, and is delivering soup when your friends are sick, and picking up their mail, and pet sitting their dog, and like you're doing that. And then when you're sick, there's nobody that checks on you even. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? And that's like, okay, that's your indicator here that something's out of balance. You look at all the reasons of why, and what that was. that, what I've described right there is some sort of like people-pleasing behavior, which could stem from certain things, certain roles you had to keep up in early childhood in order to have a place of importance in life. So you just kind of start dissecting it from there, okay? Like, we can't solve it in this 15-minute reading, but if you do want to look at it deeper in a personal level, I would welcome you to have a session or go to somebody that you feel like you can trust to kind of like dissect whatever you uncover when you reflect on this information, okay? So it's meant to be helpful. Only take what's helpful to you. And that is going to complete your reading. Okay. I'm going to Palo Santo. And I'm also going to hydrate. Now we're going to do pick 5. There'll be an answer that will look at the answer to your question in a minute or two. We've got daily chores, but it did come in reverse. Subconscious shadow loop, which also came in reverse. We're looking to gain some clarity. Oh, and you've got all these Hermes cards. Transformation is your biggest priority right now. You may be trying to do things to avoid your transformation, like quick fixes, like, it's like when you have depression and you go get medication for depression. It's like, yes, medication can like hold it off for a while, but you are going to have to deal with the thing within you when you're ready to. Or it's like when you feel down and depressed and you go shopping. Or it's like when you feel like nothing's going your way and you can't like clear your karma or something, and then you like shake salt over your left shoulder 3 times on a Saturday and turn around twice. It's like you're looking for a quick fix, perhaps, and there isn't going to be one. Okay? And we've got telepathy. So you may be hearing people's thoughts. You may feel like people are hearing yours. I'm pretty excited for the return of telepathy. And there's a lot of mystery still in your situation. So gaining clarity. Okay. Patience. So please be patient. This isn't to shame you when you say like you're looking for a quick fix. It's like, who wouldn't, right? Basically, like, lots of times, we try all the easy solutions before we go to the more difficult one. And if one of the easy ones isn't going to work, then that's the only reason we get to a more difficult one, is because the easy ones didn't work, Like, it's totally human nature and intelligent to try what's easy first if that's what you have energy for. There is a lot to be done on a day-to-day basis that you might feel overwhelmed by. Like when we had that example of depression, like, depression is like kind of like a backlog of shadow work that needs to be done, and it's so much that it feels overwhelming. And it's like, where do you even begin, right? It's like, let's take one step at a time. First of all, you can just do what's in front of you, but be very patient with yourself. If you feel overwhelmed, then it's right for you to feel overwhelmed. What you're dealing with is overwhelming. Maybe you make a list of things that you're going to deal with, of trauma, and then like you have it in your journal, and then like, when a feeling comes up, you deal with it, then you can cross it off your list. That's just an example of like, a method that could help you feel like you have a little more control each time you start looking at these issues. Telepathy. Let's see. Even if you are experiencing telepathy, you're not going to really trust it if you're in this state of like being ridden with shadows. But I bet you this transformation you're going through is going to lead to a time when you can use telepathy. And maybe part of the thing is that you're very intellectual, because all this Hermes energy wanted to jump out into your reading. And the other readings only had like 2 Hermes cards, but you had 4. And one of them is a blank, a mysterious card. It's like, I think that you are kind of genius in a way. Like, maybe like figuring out new things has been more fun than trying to like dig up the old stuff that you already been through. But there's something manifesting as a nemesis, and it's affecting, like, it's coming by way of your self-worth. Your self-worth is where there's a shadow. Or maybe even you're seeing outside of yourself an enemy that isn't there. It's a projection of your own inner enemy. Yes. Okay. So you might think like, oh, I'll get one of those evil eye pendants, and then this person's energy can't infiltrate me, and that I can't hear their thoughts and their persistent, negativity coming into my mind. And it's like, actually, there's a shadow here that has to do with your worth. Like, you absolutely do have telepathy, and maybe you are tapped into somebody else's thoughts. Maybe someone is sending you thoughts. That's completely possible. Maybe you also can use oracle cards and tarot decks to get some answers. But like, one thing for sure is, when you see either this person or any person as an enemy right now in your life, this is highlighted for you now. It is a projection of your own inner enemy, the part of you that is not working for you within you. There's a part of you within you that is working against you. You might see it surface in self-sabotage, being late for appointments, not calling people back when it was important, putting your foot in your mouth when you speak, tripping when you are about to win the race, not keeping up with your daily chores, failing on responsibilities, or even like your car breaking down, which doesn't look directly like self-sabotage, but it's because you're carrying the thoughts and kind of like saying, oh, it's this person and they must be sabotaging me. So when you say, oh, that person could be sabotaging me, you're literally letting it into your energy as a story you're telling yourself that you're being sabotaged. So guess what happens? You get sabotaged. So even though it's like on a soul level, and even though it's through like your mind that you're allowing it in, it is another form of self-sabotage. And so let's clean up this nemesis energy. Let's look at the parts within yourself that are being activated through any thoughts you have of somebody else sabotaging you. Do you feel angry? Okay, now anger needs your acknowledgement, validation, acceptance, and presence. Does it make you feel fearful? Okay, fear needs your acknowledgement, validation, acceptance, and presence. Does it make you feel like you want to retaliate? Okay, the part of you that wants to retaliate needs your acknowledgement, validation, love, and acceptance. Acceptance and presence. Whatever you're feeling due to, like, is it unfair? Like, do you feel like you're being mistreated? Do you feel like you're powerless? Okay, so powerlessness needs your acknowledgement, your validation, your acceptance, and your presence. So this other person that you're projecting onto actually can show you all the places within you that your self-worth and your self-love needs to clean up, the weaknesses that you have, you know. So this is a process that you want to be patient with yourself through. Okay, because you're actually like loving so far unloved parts of yourself that you thought were unlovable, and you probably haven't even acknowledged were there, because so far you've only been willing to see them outside of yourself in this other person that you're deeming as your nemesis. You're saying, oh, it's them. They're the ones that are that. I would never be that. That's bad. That's gross. That's wrong. Nobody likes that. Well, now it's your job to love that. And once you love that in yourself, whether they have it or not, it's not going to be something that you're going to magnetize to yourself anymore. So even if it really was a person that was trying to sabotage you or send you evil, intentions, what you did was just seal up the place within you where they could have gotten in on that thing. You know what I mean? So this is a really, really important process that you're going through. Okay? Let's get the answer to your question. Unlikely choice. Okay? So maybe if you did think this person was, an enemy who was trying to attack you and infiltrate you and sabotage you, that would be like, nah. Okay, so this all is going to lead to a breakthrough. So in actuality, this situation is so valuable to you, and it will allow you to shine. Okay? What you're dealing with and learning about, especially with telepathy, is subtle energy. Like the whole story unfolds for you in your mind, and this is because you have a strong mind and because you have high intellect, that you're able to be so open-minded, because you've explored a lot of different things with that mind of yours. You know that you can tune into more subtle things, like this more subtle energy that exists, and that's what you're dealing with here. Okay? So if not for this kind of situation, this telepathy, cluing you into where the breach in the wall is, the weakness is, like, you wouldn't have ever even looked at it. So this situation is actually serving you, even though the human, fearful, or childlike part of you that doesn't like the situation doesn't feel like that, right? Okay, so once you clear this up, telepathy might look a lot different for you. It might be a lot more fun, or you might just close off any messages that you were getting from somebody that you didn't want to be in contact with. Or you will alleviate any distortions within the communication that you had with that person. Because the distortions are ricocheting off of your own wounding patterns that are in your shadow. You have not acknowledged them yet. And they have to do with your self-worth. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was going to say more, but I think that's enough. Now remember, you can consider a personal reading at half price. If you go to the intro, there's more details on that. Otherwise, this is information just to reflect on. It's meant to be helpful, so only take what is helpful to you. And I want to thank you for being here. Perhaps we'll meet again in a future reading. Bye now.